All right. Blade, can you hear me? Hello. Yeah.
There we go.
Technically, welcome to the Stint 3 broadcast. I already killed the Stint 2 broadcast to pull up the Stint 3 broadcast, but Blade, you were the Stint 2 winner in the prototype category. Fantastic job at that as well. Completely alone on track for most of the day. Where in the world did you find all that pace?
Change of strategy. Ran stint one, running full mediums. Wasn't the biggest fan of it, but got me close enough despite all the battling that happened. Heard Darkser was ran full softs, and I figured, screw it, I'll give it a shot. And yeah, blitzed the field. 45.581 fastest lap for me, clean as well. So, wish I had that in qualifying, but yeah, pretty good stint.
So now the question ends up becoming, what is this plan going to be for you and your teammates in the later stint? Because now this is back-to-back stints where the all-soft strategy is obviously the way to go. What do you do if everybody in the prototypes commit to all softs and you just can't get away from each other and you can't get into clean air? Do you still commit to the soft strategies anyway because it's so valuable having those fresh, super grippy tires? Or do you go ahead and jump to a slower strategy just to try and get into clean air? What's more important, the clean air or the tires?
I think definitely tires. Dirty air isn't really too much of a factor. It's more so just how much are you battling. Because if you have two cars running away with slipstream, that's going to be a lot faster than just battling away, even on a slower tire or just running solo. So it all depends. It's going to require a little bit of teamwork from other teams. But I've got confidence that my teammate's Cherry's going to be able to do relatively okay. As long as he keeps the car on the gray stuff, we're going to be just fine.
All right. Hey, we'll definitely keep an eye on it because I think you guys should either be leading out of all the C lobby prototypes or if not leading, very, very close to leading. So we'll definitely be keeping an eye on what Sherry can do. Blade, thanks for jumping in and talking with us.
Yep, no problem. Hopefully see you in victory lane for stint 5.
Well, I'm not going to be broadcasting Stint 5. Stint 5 is my
Damn.
break stint. But yeah, well, we'll see. Anyways, thanks for jumping in, mate. Peace.
Appreciate it. Take care.
All right. And that is the word from Blade. We're going to try and knock out a Twitch mandated ad break. And when we come back, we should be getting on track for the event here. We seem to be in a bit of a prolonged holding pattern. Don't really know what the holdup is. It looks like we have all of our drivers here. And, well, nope, we had one driver who was not here. They needed to re-ready up, I guess. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're still in a bit of a prolonged holding pattern. Not really sure what the holdup is, but because everyone is here, but and everyone's readied up, but we haven't gone yet. Not really sure what the problem is. All right, well, for those of you who haven't been here for our first two Stint 1 was dominated by Darkster, Stint 2 was dominated by Blade in the top category, while the LMP Chevrolet entry dominated in the bottom categories. The fights for second on back, though, have been absolutely crazy in prototypes, and the fight for second to fourth was pretty chaotic in GTs as well, as we're now finally about to load onto the circuit, I guess. And they do not seem to be already preloaded in order, so they may have to manually reorder the grid here on track. It may not be a reordering by lobby host. It may be, everyone's gonna have to get in order on track. If so, that may take a little bit more time. Hopefully not too much, but it might take just a little bit more time if that ends up being what happens here. We have had a few instances. Oh, hello. Oh, wow. What? This is going to be a messy one. All right, what's the plan going to be? Are they going to restart the lobby? Yep, looks like they're immediately committing to restarting the lobby. So, rough time. We apologize for that, ladies and gentlemen. Well, this is the reason why TORA does something called reset stints. Every 5 or 6 stints in an enduro, they have what they call a reset stint, where to make up for the fact that typically little hiccups like this happen normally, they will go ahead and set a reset to where stint 5 or stint 6, in this event it's stint 6, is guaranteed to set at a certain time. So you'll actually end up having with 2 different C lobbies running at the exact same time. There'll be a little bit offset, obviously. You'll have 2 different C lobbies running at the exact same time, so everyone doesn't end up being 4 or 5 hours behind by the end of the entire event. That is why we are covering the first 4 stints. We will not be covering stint 5, but we'll be back to cover stint 6, the final stint afterwards. So, yeah, little issues and hiccups like this is why TORA has implemented that system. I don't know why they said I couldn't spectate at this time. I literally just hit the spectate button. So bizarre. I don't know what the hiccup was there. Well, anyways, Stint 3 will be organized roughly by the finishing results of Stint 1. So pole position is going to go to ARE Wolf. After that will be Snowball 1. Then LMP Aramis, DMS Sherry 27, Everstone or EVR Stone, followed by Rama, AFMZ Ozzy, AFZ Hyper, Rama, then JTSO2, then AFZ Maverick, then it should be AFZ Hyper LM, then Lazy Arc, then AFMZ Ozzy. That will be your prototype order. And for your GT ordering, it will be Kart Racer on pole, followed by Queen Biba, Mosmatos, C480, Apex Yes, Chris. I didn't catch the rest of them in time. Curses. All right, here we are. And it looks like the rear of the grid will be Apex Yes, followed by EVR Chris, White Wolf 28, FRR Kelcham, and then Manuel Pedro. And that will be the rest of the field there. So, will Snowball 1 be able to do anything to AER Wolf? And Manuel Pedro has already dropped out of the event. They came to a stop, they started moving, then they separated. Now, I don't know if they're going to do a lobby restart or not. Looks like the answer is yes, they're going to do a lobby restart. So we're going to have to go to a third attempt at setting up the lobby here. And while we are in the waiting period, we will go ahead and take another Twitch-mandated ad break. We'll be back momentarily here at Sebring. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like we're going to go without Manuel. So we are now officially one driver down here. So one fewer GT entry. So we'll have 11 prototypes and 8 GTs now. A little bit closer to the ratio that we're used to seeing. All right, here we are. Tip number 3 now. So yeah, it's going to be EVR Chris, White Wolf 28, and FFR Kelchan at the back. But it's going to be AER Wolf, Snowball, and Aramis at the head of the field. Going to be interesting to see if Snowball can do anything to Wolf at the start here. There's been a different driver in that number 97 prototype every single stint thus far today. We'll see them roll on through here, and then once the field clears here, we'll swap cameras again just as they're coming to the green. All right, and we're off. And Snowball does not let that Toyota up in front get away. Immediately, Wolf and Snowball make a little bit of a gap between themselves and Aramis into the first heavy braking zone of the stint. Nothing too crazy there. And now we're starting to see Wolf already pulling out a bit of a gap on Snowball. So it seems like Wolf is really happy with that thing. At least in the first few corners. A little bit farther back, what does the rear of the grid look like? Well, Apex, yes, in the pink Porsche is trying to go the long way around C480 in the BMW, and he's got it. And now, yes, will put their focus on Mosmatos. Remember, yes had a good run going in Stint 1 before the accident that plummeted them down the grid, and they still recovered to 5th. If Yes can put together some good laps, keep the car clean, there may be a second, if not first place fight in that. And not just that, Queen Biba has just gotten around Kart Racer. Queen Biba and the Kobayashi Dragon Maid Dodge has just overtaken the Chevrolet of Kart Racer. So for the first time in what feels like living memory, we don't have the LMP Chevrolet leading here at Sebring in the bottom category. Wild how that's turned out, and that's not the only thing. Yes is now working on Mosmatos, and with the superior straight line speed of the Portive, already cleared the Dodge of Mosmatos. Meanwhile, farther up the grid is Wolf, Snowball, Aramis. Aramis runs right behind Snowball, and there's DMS Sherry. Sherry started 4th. Highest of all the BMWs. This is the BMW that should be leading overall. If not leading overall, they should be really close to leading overall right now. Just about nose to tail as they come on down to it here. Yes, enough gaps so no one's really hitting each other. A little bit more chaotic, more on top of each other farther back in this grid. The back of the prototype field is still clumped up really tight, but the top 5 drivers, I'd say, all have respectable enough gaps. They're all close enough that they can still capitalize if someone makes a mistake, but no one's really close enough to be going crazy and making lots of big moves around here right now. The entire GT field, though, is still all right on top of each other. Just look at this here. This is just second place Kart Racer, and we know the Chevrolet has superior straight lines, so they should be able to run right down on Queen Biba in the straights here. Well, they should be able to, but I guess the advantage that Biba's gaining into the corners is more than anticipated. Oh, and Yes gets into Kart Racer! Apex on LMP action here as Yes gets right into the side of Kart Racer and gets him sideways in the process. That's going to let Queen Biba open up a fantastically large gap. And that is Mazmatos right behind. Now Kart Racer trying to use the speed of that Chevrolet to try and get away from that Porsche. But Yes is Yes had a good exit out of that corner as well, but Yes is still close enough to try and do something. Aramis has now slipped back to fourth, Snowball to fifth, and DMS Sherry has broken up into second place in the prototypes. Is there going to be a fight for second here in GT? Oh, here it comes. Yes, to the inside of Kart Racer again. Again, a little bit of contact. Kart Racer goes wide. Really wide. Really, really wide. He's going to bleed a huge amount of time off in the process. Yes, goes into the second spot. And now Mazmatos putting some pressure on Kart Racer. The Dodge trying to work around the outside of the Chevrolet. Does the Dodge have the handling to make the move stick on the outside? He does. And Kart Racer goes from first to fourth in about 6 minutes. Meanwhile, in the prototypes is that Doritos number 78 that has moved up into the second spot, and already they are putting the focus on Wolf farther up. And then you have Everstone just behind, trying to keep LMP Aramis back there. The highest Bentley right now is Snowball 1, and they've just lost that spot to JTS02. Mind, during the last stint, JTS02 ran an alternate strategy where they did all sauce, but they ran one extra lap compared to everybody else. Ended up not really benefiting them in the way they were expecting, but we know that JTS, not only is he fast, we know that he is willing to experiment. He's willing to try some stuff out, try to figure some things out here. So keep an eye on JTS as the stint goes on. A little bit of contact there. Snowball gets into the rear diffuser, that rear end. It's not really a diffuser on these cars, but he gets into the rear end of that prototype. And now JTS02 goes wide in turn 1, and that's going to let Snowball get right back by. So Snowball back in the top 5, and a little bit of a payback bump. Nothing crazy, just a boom, you hit me, I'll hit you. Nothing too wild. But Wolf and DMS Sherry have pulled away from the rest of the prototype field. Then you have Everstone here in third, trying to keep LMP Aramis behind. Oh, that got crazy. That's crazy there. Snowball on the inside tried to get alongside JTS02, could not make it stick though. He was there but could not stay alongside on the exit of the corner. So once again, Bentley's out of the top 5 positions. A little bit farther back, Kart Racer continuing to slip downward through the field. Next driver that is catching him is EVR Chris. C480 has fallen well down the order, but I have to wonder if C4 might be running a harder set of tires. In fact, let's go ahead. We're about 8 minutes in. Let's go ahead and look at everyone's tires right now. Wolf, AER Wolf at the head of the field. Their tires are at 30% already, so they're definitely on softs. DMS Sherry is in second position, 30%, also definitely on softs. EVR Stone, who is in this fight for third with Aramis, he's at 30%, so they're definitely on softs. Aramis, looking at the inside, 29%, so they're actually doing a little bit better on tire life than the drivers around them. Snowball 1 in fifth, the highest of the Bentleys right now, 32%. AFZ Maverick, they are running with 21, so they're on a medium tire compound. They're going to stay out a while. JTS02, 31%. Ozzy, who lagged out back in Stint 1, hope not have that happen again. He's at 32% right now. Lazy Arc 62, their tire wear is at 22%, so another medium runner. And then Rama, last of your prototypes right now, 30, so another soft run. So only 2 drivers seem to be running. Oh no, I'm sorry. We have AFC Hyper LM, who has already fallen well off the back of the grid. He is on mediums. Then we look at the GT category. This is Queen Biba, who leads in the Kobayashi Dragon Maid Dodge, 32% already. Apex, yes, just behind. I imagine they're on soft tires as well. Yes, and a little bit better, 31%. Mosmatos in third, 33.9%. Ooh, that's a lot of wear for a Dodge. Then you have Kart Racer, who is in fourth, 33%. So a lot of tire wear on these drivers here at the front. This is FFR Kelchan. In fifth, 33%. Sixth place is White Wolf, 21. So he's definitely on the mediums. You got C480 back here, 23%. So they're on the mediums. And then Chris, last in the GT category right now, Ever Chris is at 33.6. So about 2 drivers running mediums in both categories. Snowball has just gotten by Everstone, apparently, in the prototypes. And did it in the final corner. I wonder if Everstone may have hit the inside wall, went wide, and that let Snowball sneak by. But now we have all 4 manufacturers represented, well, all 3 prototype manufacturers represented in the top 4 spots now. I really want to focus on this here, though. This is the fight for the lead in GT, and Apex, yes, has the tighter inside line. Queen Biba has the wider line. Neither of them really giving up yet. But there it is. Yes, has this, just enough power, enough straight line speed, and pulls away on Queen Biba in a shorter straight there. So Apex, yes, now goes to the lead. Queen Biba second. Mosmatos back there in third. In another Dodge. Then Kart Racer is the highest of your Chevys. Kelchan is your second highest Chevy. And then White Wolf back here is another Porsche. And then C480 and EVR Chris are your only 2 BMWs, your last BMWs. And speaking of which, here come the leaders in prototypes. It is time for prototypes to start navigating their way through GT traffic. DMS Sherry clearing, no problem. Wolf clears with no problem as well. I'll take a look real quickly here at the leaders. This is Yes and Biba. They seem to be stable for now. What of Wolf and Sherry? Well, there's your answer. Sherry got right beside Wolf for a moment there, but is wide coming out of the final corner. The straight line speed will go in Wolf's favor. Sherry does have draft, though, so it's not all lost. Now they come up on Kart Racer. Clear him with no issue. Sherry still right there behind Wolf. These were the 2 cars that won in Stint 1 and 2 respectively. That's Mosmatos that they're going by now. And the next one will be your leaders in GT, Queen Biba and Yes. They're going to catch them coming out of the braking zone here. Did we just lose somebody? Did we disconnect? Did we lose Ozzy? What in the devil? Well, it looks like it's Snowball we've lost. We'll try to reach out to Snowball, see if they have anything they want to say. Frustrating to see somebody lag out so early in any event. But already, prototypes have cleared, well, the lead prototypes at least have cleared GT traffic. And it seems even after all that, Yes is your leader, is now starting to just gradually open up the gap between themselves and Queen Biba. For drivers who put on soft tires to start this, we can expect them to start pitting likely at the end of this lap. Ooh, that's was that legal? That was a big cut there by JTSO2. I'll be shocked if that counts as being legal. LMP Aramis is actually closed in on the top 2 just a little bit. Oh, and pit stops beginning. That was Wolf who's gone ahead and made her first stop. Way earlier than everyone else at that. No damage to the car or anything, so this is just their normal scheduled stop. So they have elected to pit a little bit earlier than anticipated, interestingly enough. Everyone else in the prototypes should be able to stay out for a bit. So now it's DMS Sherry and LMP Aramis. And I look at the tire wear on Sherry's car, 55%. That you could do this extra lap. Now the undercut is really good at getting track position. But that might be countered by the fact that Wolf is going to have to go all the way through the GT traffic again. And the other prototypes, when they pit at the end of this lap, most of them will not have to deal with GT traffic again. So it's not bad strat, but I think he may have mistimed it and not realized he's going to lose time. Probably a lot of time he's going to gain from pain early. He's going to lose a lot of it trying to pass all these GT cars again. Well, Aramis leads over Sherry. The straight line speed of that Toyota is just too much for Sherry to really do anything against. But we're anticipating these drivers will both pit at the end of this lap. In fact, after this lap is over, we're probably going to see all but like 4 drivers making pit stops here. Maybe we'll see JTS try the strategy again and go a lap or 2 longer, but I doubt it. Aramis and that Martini-inspired Toyota TS020. I'm very biased, but I love that livery so much. And it looks like our top 3 in prototypes are pitting, but JTS02 is going to stay out, as will AFZ Maverick. And Lazy Arc will stay out also. Now, Maverick's one of these drivers on the medium tires, so that's not too much of a surprise. JTS02 doing the I'm going to stay out for an extra lap strategy again, but he's already at 62% tire wear. I'm not sure if the strategy is going to work for him. If anything, I feel like if you want to do this strategy, you need to run the normal amount of laps on the first stint and then do longer later when there's more rubber on the track and you're not burning up as much time. Well, when it's all said and done and over with, where is Wolf going to be in relation to his rivals? Wolf gets by all of them except for Stone. Stone is still ahead of him. No, he's not. He's by Stone, but Sherry and Aramis ahead of him. So the undercut did not work out for Wolf because he bled out too much time fighting with GT traffic. And speaking of GT traffic, it is EVR Chris who stays out, White Wolf that stays out, and C480 that stays out. Those 3 now inherit the lead in the GT category. So 4 drivers at the head of the prototype field have yet to make their final stop. 3 drivers at the head of the GT category have yet to make their final stop. It is Chris versus White Wolf here at the head of the GT field. Now we see JTS02 pitting as anticipated. Well, I think we might see Hyper LM pit this time as well, just because the tires he's on just aren't performing. But we're really watching this fight at the very head of the GT pack right now. Chris leads White Wolf is 2 German manufacturers, BMW and Porsche, going at it here at the head of the field. And the BMW gets into the dirt there. And now around the outside comes the green Porsche. And it is going to be White Wolf who goes to the lead now in GT. Not quite side by side. It's just kind of a nose to tail fight here between the duo. And EVR Chris now finally jumps into the pits. So now it's only White Wolf and C480 in the GTs who have yet to pit. Hyper LM, 3rd in prototype, still also has yet to pit. They're only at 47% tire wear right now. Look at Lazy Arc, who is 2nd in prototypes. Their most worn tire, 49.8%. It's the rears that are burning up for him. And then AFZ Maverick, who is leading in prototypes right now, he's in the 50s. I imagine he would surely come, if not this lap, the lap after this one. If anything, it would probably be better for him to come the lap after this one, just so he can eke out a little bit extra time. But he is going for the medium strategy to start the event. Now, we got to talk to Blade at the start of this Stint 3 broadcast after he won Stint 2. The winners by large margin in the first 2 stints were drivers who did all softs. Blade seems to think that it's better to be all softs and fine with people. I mean, obviously you don't want to be fine with people, but it's better to be on all softs than to be on the mediums at all. He just doesn't seem to have any confidence in what the mediums can do whatsoever. But Maverick doesn't seem so convinced about that. Maverick doesn't feel quite as fatalist regarding it. But leading on the primary strategy right now, it is still LMP Aramis at the moment, with DMS Sherry behind and AER Wolf a little bit farther back in third on that strategy. And then the top category, in the bottom category, I mean, it is White Wolf who leads over C480. Real quickly, look at their tire wear. White Wolf, 48.6% tire wear. C480, 51.6. Although I think White Wolf has a little bit less fuel, right? Yeah, White Wolf has quite a bit less fuel right now also. Bit of a slide there by Maverick as he's just trying to open up as big of a gap as possible on the rest of the field, trying to make this alternate strategy work. He's going to be catching GT traffic in just a few seconds here. That's not something I imagine he was anticipating. White Wolf pits, but now C480 is going to stay out. So C480 is really trying to extend the pits. Good news for White Wolf is that most of the GT category traffic has already gotten very spread out. So it's not like he's going to be held up too much by them. I said White Wolf, I meant Maverick. Curses. But Maverick's not going to be held up too much by traffic here. Sure, they'll be on the apex. That'll compromise him a bit, but it's not like he has to hold back and wait while two GT cars are trying to go side by side. As I say that, there is a side-by-side fight going on ahead between Mosmatos and Kart Racer. I think that fight's just about resolved itself as riding on board Maverick, he catches them and blitzes them in a straight line, no problem whatsoever. Yeah, if anything, it's Lazy Arc who's really held up by them both. Hyper LM, who also still has yet to make a pit stop, has just about been caught by LMP Aramis now. I imagine these three will all pit at the end of this lap. I imagine C480 will also pit at the end of this lap. Honestly, the fact that C480 has burned up his tires as much as he has already is kind of stunning in its own right. And just behind C480 here is Apex Yes. How long is it going to take Aramis to get by the Bentley? Toyo looks to the outside. Because here's the thing, if Aramis spends too much time trying to get by, Sherry is going to be right back there. There's a little bit of contact, but he's through. So Aramis clears AFZ Hyper LM. And now it will be DMS Sherry who has to clear with him. Oh, nice move, nice slide. That was a lot of confidence by Sherry. But Sherry's already side by side and should have the braking line advantage here. Yeah, the 224 Bentley is not going to push the issue. Maverick coming into pits. Lazy Arc's going to come into pits. Obviously, Hyper is going to pit. C480 is going to pit as well. So that gives the lead of the race over to Apex Yes. Again, this was a driver who was on track for what could have been a second place result in Stint 1. Had an accident, fell all the way to back, had to do some pit strategy shenanigans, but recovered to 5th. Now they're leading by a massive margin. Could this be the first time that someone from the LMP guys don't pull off a win here? I mean, see, Apex could try and play spoiler. It will definitely be interesting to watch. Queen Biba has moved up into the second spot. Kart Racer up into third. In the middle of a gaggle of traffic right now. And still trying to deal with Mosmatos. No big move yet. Looks like, though, that is just about the entire field. And the good news for Aramis... So, yeah, the entire field has made their stops, I should say. And the good news for Aramis, he really only has one more car he's going to have to deal with. That is, I believe... Is that White Wolf? No, that is yes. He only has yes to worry about, and then after that, Aramis will be in clean air for quite some time. Oh, JTSO2 very nearly gets into it. He does. He gets into it. And Kart Racer is also touched by Mazzuto. Somehow he's still on track. Incredible car control by Kart Racer. He's still on track. It's not over yet for him. But man, cutting through traffic will be really calm sometimes, and then it gets absolutely insane all of a sudden. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and ride on board for a lap with LMP Aramis here for Flyer Around Sebring. We'll be back momentarily here for TORA's 12 Hours of Sebring. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Sebring. It is Aramis leading over Sherry, but unlike what we saw in the first two stints, it's not one driver running off to a gigantic lead. Aramis is being kept honest by Sherry, just a little bit out of range. Wolf could have been in the middle of it, but he elected to make a very early first pit stop and ended up catching traffic a second extra time because of that. And that time that he spent in traffic has kind of derailed his run. He needs to find some fantastic laps if he wants to run down the top two. You have EVR Stone running in 4th position right now. AFMG Ozzy is currently the highest running of all the Bentleys. Zorn, his teammate, pulled off the podium last stint. Ozzy would love to try and replicate that, if not one-up that. In the bottom category, it is Apex Yes, who went ahead, got by Queen Biba early on, and has been just running off with this lead with no issue whatsoever. Queen Biba, in their own right, ran up there and got by Kart Racer early on, and Queen Biba has been on for a fantastic run. Kart Racer has stabilized in the 3rd position right now, just barely ahead of Mazzuto, who is in the 2nd highest Dodge. Then you have FFR Kelchan here in the 2nd highest Chevrolet. Then you have EVR Chris in the highest of the BMWs, followed by C480, who is on an alternate strategy trying to save tires, and White Wolf, who is on the main strategy, but a bit of a modification of it. He went a little bit longer on his tires than most of the other drivers who started on the soft tire compound right now. And we are about 2 minutes away from drivers who went soft making their next round of stops. One of those drivers, I would imagine, would be this one here, LMP Aramis. He's at 52.9%. He can probably go around one more time if he wants. And that is exactly what he's going to do. He's going to go around one more time. What about AER Wolf? He paid a lap earlier before, and here he comes in again, paying a lap earlier once more. So he not only has to pay the piper, he can't really take advantage of the tire life advantage because he doesn't have the track position. And when he went ahead and first got the advantage, he immediately had to deal with traffic and burnt up the advantage on traffic. So for Wolf, it's just going to be an entire day of trying to dig himself out of a hole. Now, granted, the hole's not massive. It's not like he's 6 feet under. It's only like 1.5 feet under. But digging yourself out of a hole with the shovel, have you ever tried it? It is very difficult. It's doable, but it's very difficult. And the ground just never really quite feels right, even after you're out of it. So Wolf is the first driver to make their second pit stop. In the bottom category, it's going to be a similar scenario for Yes, although obviously because the GTs go a little bit slower, but they also have less downforce, the way that they burn through their tires just a little bit differently. We've not really seen any GTs burn up their rear tires first. It's almost always their front tires that are going away first. And with how little fuel is left here in Yes's machine, we're likely going to see Apex Yes pit at the end of this lap. Once again, just look at this here. 3rd, 4th, 5th, all on top of each other with 6th place. EVR still not too far back. Stone was higher. What's gone wrong with Stone? Have they damaged the engine or something? No, but their tires are cooked beyond belief. They're almost at 60%. No wonder they have slipped back. So this has put the Bentley of AFMG Aussie up into the 3rd spot, but not by much because they've got JTS02 right behind them, absolutely hassling them. Remember, JTS has a 1-lap tire advantage over the other drivers riding on softs right now. Aramis coming into the pits. DMS Sherry is coming into the pits. Is JTS going to go ahead and make the dive coming into the final corner this time? No, it does not look like. In fact, he goes wide, and he's going to let AFMG Aussie take all the line he needs to try and get into the pit lane. Maverick's going to stay out. Maverick's started the race on medium tires. JTS stays out. JTS actually ends up losing a position to Maverick while going wide. EVR Stone comes in. Rama comes in. Lazy Arc is... Are they going to come in or are they going to stay out? No, Lazy Arc is going to stay out. And obviously, AER Wolf had already made their 2nd stop. How many positions is he going to go over? He's been in clean air compared to everyone else. So if he has anything close to a pace advantage, this should be enough to let him start getting by people. Well, he's by Rama. He's by Stone. He's by Aussie. But the gap between Wolf and the duo of Aramis and Sherry has actually gotten even longer. Or even larger, I should say. And now Yes is coming to the pits. I imagine we'll see Queen Biba pit this time. So will Kart Racer. But the gap that Apex Yes already has on the rest of the field is absolutely incredible. So does JTS pit at the end of this lap? Oh yeah, he'll have to pit at the end of this lap. Those tires aren't looking good. Even if he just is looking for a 1-lap advantage, if he has a 1-lap advantage and just pushes that 1-lap advantage for the rest of the time, I think he'd be in a good position. But if he keeps trying to push it every single stint, he'll end up in the same place he was last time. He'll eventually catch people who have faster tires than them, and he'll be held up by them. And then when he's no longer being held up by them, he'll be so slow he won't even be able to draft off them. I feel like JTS has to consider not replicating the same strategy and instead just pitting maybe 1 extra lap once every other time or something like that so the difference isn't so extreme. But no, he's going to commit to it. Well, I can't say he's not making things interesting. It would be a much more boring stint if JTS wasn't trying to do some interesting shenanigans here. Lazy Arc stays out as well. Queen Biba staying out for a little bit longer here. Now, Biba put on medium tires, interestingly enough, so that's probably a big reason why Yes opened up such a massive gap on Biba, because Yes went soft-softs, going for sheer bloody pace, and in Yes's favor, they are clear of drivers. There is literally nobody directly around them. They can run just clean qualifying laps right now. This might be a great strategy for Yes, because they've lucked out in how clean and empty the track is right now. We started with 20 drivers, but one of them was not able to retake to the track when we did the final lowdown, and then Snowball lagged out about less than 10 minutes into the event. We still have everyone else still running, so we still have 8 drivers in GT and 10 drivers in Prototype right now. You can see Mosmatos and EVR Chris having their own little spat back there for what is 3rd on track in the GTs. And it looks like Chris is saying, all right, time to pit. All the battles on track have already pretty much dissolved. Everyone's kind of gone into a happy place now where they're just turning laps solo for the moment. JTS is pitting, so AFZ Maverick running what we believe is a medium-focused strategy, leads in relatively clean air, although he's starting to navigate his way through traffic once again now. Lazy Ark will inherit second spot now. And Aramis is going to go back to third after passing JTS, who is still in the pits. DMS Sherry still runs in fourth, but the gap between Aramis and Sherry has gradually been growing bigger bit by bit as this has been going on. AFC Hyper LM, still sixth, still has yet to make their next stop. But everyone else in prototypes, except for Maverick, Lazy, and Hyper, has made their stop. And mind you, all three of them, they're all AFZ drivers, AFC teams, although Hyper is not in one of the Toyotas, he's in a Bentley. But they've all been running basically the exact same things right now, the exact same strategies right now. Keep an eye on that. When does Queen Biba pit out of the lead? They went soft to medium tires. They're at 49.7%. They're going to be about 50% by the time they come down out of the final corner. Do you pit now or do you wait a bit longer? Well, still nothing from Biba. I thought they would have pitted this time, but that is not the case. They're at 52%. So, I mean, their tires aren't going to be awful, but it's definitely an interesting choice, to say the least. Mosmatos currently in third position with C480 just behind, but Mosmatos already at 53% wear. I look at C480 running right behind. C480 is at 54%. And that's DMS Sherry going by the two of them. Again, that BMW that C480 is in, it'll have a straight line speed advantage, and there he is. He's looking to the outside. Now, Dodge's going to be able to brake a lot later, though. C4 just can't keep it side by side coming out of that corner, but he still has a straight line speed advantage. Trying to look to the inside, but the car's just not there yet. Now he's got the run, so he's going to be on the inside coming into the braking zone. Will that be enough for C480 to crack back into the podium positions here? You've got some prototypes coming up you'll have to be aware of. The prototypes will not give this GT duo any serious headache there. And C480 does crack his way back into the podium spots. AFZ Maverick, your leader in prototype pitting. I'm anticipating that Lazy Ark will be pitting shortly as well. So LMP Aramis will retake the lead. Re-inherit the lead? Whatever term you want to use. He'll steal the lead. Oh, C4 into the dirt. Had a bit of a twitch, and he hits Mosmatos coming back onto the circuit. Aramis goes into the lead now. I don't think there's any damage to Mosmatos. He'll be fine, right? Yeah, Mosmatos is fine. I imagine both Mosmatos and C4 are both going to be pitting this time. Well, C4 pits. Oh, C4 just got ran into from behind by one of the prototypes. Is that JTS? I think JTS ran into him from behind. No damage. He continues, but it looked like JTS ran into C480 from behind at full speed. Lazy Ark now leads for the first time today. So they've gone medium. Everyone else has gone some variation of medium stop, but he's gone medium by the looks of it. So a wildly alternate strategy for Lazy Ark. Some drivers wanting to throw on medium tires early. I feel like the best option would be if you know you're going to run one stint on mediums, throw the mediums on at the very end of the race when the track is nice and rubbered in and the time difference isn't that bad. But I'm not the drivers here. I'm not the strategy. And I could be completely wrong. So Lazy Ark and Prototype is the only driver who hasn't made their second stop yet. Bosmatos and White Wolves, who are running second and third in GT, they're the only GT drivers who have yet to make their second stops. But Bosmatos has just about burnt up those tires. White Wolves, what is his tires looking like? Oh, he's got medium also, so he can stay out for a little bit longer if he so chooses. And do so with minimal issue at that. Lazy Ark, are they coming into the pits this time? Nope. Tires are more than fine enough for them to be able to continue without issue there. Mosmatos will pit this time, and that will cycle White Wolf up to second here. And we'll put this driver, Queen Biba, up into the third spot in the Kobayashi Dragon Maid Dodge. In fact, we're going to go ahead and take a Twitch-mandated ad break, and while we do, we'll ride on board with Queen Biba here, one of your contenders for a podium position here in the GT category. We'll be back momentarily here at Sebring as we ride on board with the Dodge. I've been muted this entire time. My goodness, I am so sorry about that, ladies and gentlemen. I've been watching this entire time and I'm like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. And I've been muted this entire time. Aramis and Ark going to come out of the pits almost on top of each other, but Aramis is going to have a slight advantage because if they're still on the all-soft strategy, they'll be putting a little bit less fuel in the tank compared to what Lazy Ark was doing, who will likely be coming to the all-medium strategy. This will take these drivers, they've already got about 45 minutes. They do this again, that will take them down to about an hour and 30 minutes, and then it will be a 10-minute sprint to the end between Aramis and Ark. Now, Aramis is going to scoot away because, again, Aramis has less fuel in the tank and he's got soft tires. But Ark has done a pretty good job on this alternate strategy, about as good as I think you reasonably can be asked to do. And I think both these drivers are going to catch traffic at about the same point in time. A lot of how this works out between this duo may just come down to how their traffic management ends up going for the rest of this race if they continue to be on top of each other like this. AFC Maverick is your leader right now. He's ran one stint on the medium tires and everything else has been soft. And then you have JTS02 who is in second, who has been running his own unique strategy of pushing the softs really, really wide and really long anytime I can. I say that as JTS push, kart racer there really wide. Apex, yes, pits out of the lead in GT. Will that be enough to give the lead to Queen Biba, who just dropped tires into the dirt? Well, even if it does, I don't think Queen Biba is going to be in a position to really capitalize on it. But no, I think yes is in. But no, I think yes. Fantastic English in saying yes seems to be in a position where they're just so much faster than everything else. There's nobody who's going to be able to touch them. I thought that Darkster had a big gap in Stint 1. I thought that Blade had a big gap in Stint 2. Yes is well on the way to saying that's nothing. Check this out. We're not even halfway through the event, and Yes is already more than a full pit stop ahead of Queen Biba. It's insane how that has turned out. So JTS02 has gotten by Lazy Ark, and Aramis gets back by Lazy Ark as well now. Traffic management not working out well for Lazy Ark at the moment. It seems like Aramis is having a little bit better time of that right now. Interesting enough, Yes is actually the first driver to jump onto a third pit stop strategy outside of Kelchad. Everyone else in the bottom category still has only made 2 stops, but it doesn't matter. Yes is just on such a different level, it just doesn't matter. I just realized that's the case. It's like, holy moly. Anyways, riding on board with Lazy Ark. Trying to stay just close enough to Aramis so they can still get a draft off of that Toyota ahead. But I think the gap is just big enough now that they've lost any shot at draft they've had. Now Ark will get a bit of a draft off this Porsche. That's Yes, he'll get a small draft off the Porsche, but again, needs to be in the draft range of Aramis, and I just don't think it's happening. I think Aramis has got enough speed, he'll be able to just keep scooting away without issue here. As I say that, no, I'm going to stick with what I said. JTS02 runs just ahead of both of them, but JTS is on worn-out tires right now, as we are just about halfway through the run here at Sebring. About 50 minutes into what is technically a 100-minute run, hour and 40 minutes. Because again, You don't do all 2 hours of racing. You run until the clock says 20 minutes, and then everyone comes to a stop, and the distances are manually recorded. Maybe Ark's not on mediums. Maybe he is on softs. Let me check here. Ark is at 20.9% tire wear right now. Aramis is at 21.4%. They are on the same tires, and Lazy Ark is actually doing better on the tires than Aramis is. Not by much, but by a small amount. So they are no longer on alternate strategies. They are on the same strategies. Aramis is beating him legitimately. JTSO2 pits just out of the way of Aramis, so that will give this duo clean air for a little bit longer now. Maverick still has yet to pit. When does Maverick pit? Is he going to be pitting soon here? He's at 57%. Yeah, Maverick is going to have to pit at the end of this lap. And when he does, how close is he going to end up in relation to Aramis and Lazy Ark, who are now just about nose to tail? Seems like as the fuel load's burning off, Lazy Ark's coming back. So in Stint 1, while it was a Toyota up front that dominated, Bentley showed a lot of speed late, and BMWs were peppered in the upper part of the field. And Stint 2 is just BMW outright, and they're into it! Aramis and Lazy Ark get into it! Second and third place have had a double spin and slide! Aramis still has to finally Aramis has gotten going. There's no damage on either car, but Aramis and Lazy Ark both have a big slide, and this is great news for DMS Sherry. He gets to go up to second. This is great news for Maverick. Now it's very unlikely he's going to lose the lead when he makes a stop. All of a sudden, everything changes just as Lazy Ark was getting really racy with Aramis. They mistime it, and both of them go sliding off in one of the braking zones. And now Maverick is likely going to still have the lead when he comes out of pit lane. Now, Sherry still has Lazy Ark right behind that he's going to have to deal with. So Lazy Ark just goes from finding one driver to another. But that upends stuff quite a bit. And LMP Aramis, this is the third stint in a row that this red, white, and blue Martini LMP entry has been derailed by some sort of incident on track, it seems. Just trying to get a podium has been so difficult for this entry. But yeah, you see it here, folks. Well, Maverick's lost the lead, but he is still very close to Sherry and Lazy Ark. So now it is DMS Sherry in the car that won Stint 1. This is the car that has now gone back to the lead here. Still, this really puts Maverick's hopes back in contention now, because now he's fallen. Yes, he's fallen to fourth, but he is right behind Aramis, and Lazy Ark is much closer to him than he was before. There is still a chance for Maverick to pull off a podium, if not an outright Stint win. I think the Stint win could still go to A1, the top 4 right now, especially now that we've seen that Lazy Ark has already had a spin. Aramis has already had a spin. It's not like these drivers are absolutely perfect here. They can definitely make some mistakes. Here comes Lazy Ark to the inside. Goes deep under braking and will complete the overtake on Sherry. Real quickly looking at Sherry's tires. 35% on his tires. A look at Lazy Ark, who again had that big spin. Doesn't help at all. He's at 35 as well. So they're basically even on tire wear right now. I imagine both of them may be considering pitting right at the 1 hour mark. So drama in the prototype class here. Can Lazy Ark keep DMS Sherry behind? If you get onto the straights, you'll be fine, but every time you come into the corner, it's another shot for Sherry to go deep. We know that those BMWs have fantastic braking and cornering abilities. The Toyotas are a little bit better in a straight, so are the Bentleys. Oh, Sherry's into the dirt. And Maverick is still being held up by LMP Aramis, still can't clear him. And they are going to start coming up against GT traffic on this lap. And that could end up having the knock-on effect on how this plays out here. Seems like it's not been holding them up that much. Thought traffic would give Lazy Ark a little bit more of a hiccup, but it does not seem to be the case. So I'm anticipating first, second, and fourth to all pit at the same time. Maverick has finally dispatched of Aramis, who is now sliding backwards just a bit. All right, we're going to go to a Twitch-mandated ad break, and as we do, we're going to ride on board with DMS Sherry here, give you an idea what a full flying lap around here is like when you're actively trying to chase somebody else on the same tires as you. We'll be back momentarily. Here comes the move to the inside. We're not going to break yet. No, this is too good. Screw you, Twitch. We're holding off on this. Lazy Ark holding station over Sherry still. But Sherry went for a big lunge there. I'm shocked it didn't pull out, but traffic definitely had a bigger impact there than I thought it would. And now traffic holds up Lazy Ark. Sherry is there, and Lazy Ark goes deep and still holds the line somehow. They'll both keep it on track. All right, coming through this little straight will be a little bit cleaner. Not nearly as much traffic there. DMS Sherry now trying to pull back in, use the drafts in the straights, and just have a better line through the corner. Shit, an arc, really? That was literally a lazy arc in that corner, and it bled off a huge chunk of time. Sherry's right back on arc again. BMW versus Toyota. The highest Bentley, for those of you who care about the Bentley prototypes, the highest Bentley is AFMG Aussie, buried down in 6th position. I hate to say it, but sadly irrelevant in the fight for the podium right now. Gonna be held up just a bit by some traffic here. But the gap's opened up a little bit more in Lazy Ark's favor this time by. While they're not paying this lap, I imagine they'll pit the lap after this one is over. At the end of the lap, they're about to start, basically. Lazy Ark is the only driver who has yet to make his third stop. But Lazy Ark's only reason he's done that is because he traded in 3 soft pit stops earlier for 2 medium pit stops. Other than that, everyone here in prototypes are basically on the same strat, except for JTSO2, who's just been going 1 lap longer every single time he can. Lazy Ark still holding over Sherry. If anything, I think Lazy Ark is starting to pull on Sherry. Maverick has dispatched Aramis at this stage of the event. He's at 24.9%, so he will inherit the race lead as he is on an alternate strat right now. Then you have Aramis, who's going to likely pit with Ark and Sherry. Those tires are already deep into the yellow. I'll look at Lazy Ark here, your leader. He's deep into the yellow as well, and almost out of fuel. And then I look at DMS Sherry back here in second. He's even worse off when it comes to tire wear. No wonder the gap's opening up. I think he's pushed the tires just a little bit too far. So despite getting into it with LMP Aramis, and both of them sliding off track for a prolonged period of time, Lazy Ark has inherited the lead of the race. Coming down to the next round of pit stops for our prototype category. In the GT category, Yes leads with 3 pit stops. Second, third, and fourth, Queen Biba, Mosmatos, and White Wolf all have only made 2 stops, but are still more than a full pit stop behind Yes. Unless Yes has another accident, there is no way I see Yes losing this Stint 3 here. It's been a fantastic drive for them. So here comes Lazy Ark. He'll muscle his way around Queen Biba. DMS Sherry, are they going to be helped by Biba? No. So here come first, second, and fourth. They'll all jump into the pit lane at the same time now. And this will move AFC Maverick back into the lead of the race as he is running an alternate tire strat right now. with exactly an hour left. In fact, everyone who's not Maverick and JTS is pitting this time. Hyper LM might stay out for another lap. And Wolf has already made this. No, Hyper LM is going to pit this time. I don't know about Wolf. Oh, and look at this. Sherry actually ended up closing in on Lazy Ark as they came out of pit lane, apparently. Neck and neck, side by side between the two of them. A little bit of contact. Mind you, there's still traffic just ahead you gotta have to deal with. Oh, and that's Lazy Ark into the dirt, and that will settle it in favor of Sherry. For now. I wonder, I can't say for certain, I wonder if maybe Lazy Ark has decided to throw on mediums again to try and get away so he's not spending time fighting with other drivers here. It's a bold strategy if he's done that. We'll get a better idea later on once we've seen a little bit more tire wear on them, but it would be a bold strategy. All right, well, now that he's leading completely solo, we'll go ahead and ride on board for a lap with AFC Maverick. We'll return momentarily here at Sebring for TORA 12 Hours. Ladies and gentlemen, we want to welcome you back here to Sebring. We have 36 minutes left here at the circuit. And this has been an interesting one, to say the least. I've got a little bit of good news. We will not need to do any more Twitch-mandated ad breaks for the rest of this stream. So these remaining 36 minutes here on circuit, they will stay green. We will be with you guys on track to the finish here with no further ad interruptions for this stint. That's one advantage of knocking out a bunch of Twitch ads early on in a stream, is that you can get these really long periods of green flag running later on. You've seen Maverick go ahead and scoot by. He is your leader right now. We'll give you another shot of him. JTS02 currently is running in second position right now. This is where JTS02 is. JTS running a alternate strategy of their, well, not super alternate, but they are doing the same thing they've been doing most of the day. They run the softs, so they push the softs one lap farther than everyone else. It's been a fun strategy to watch, but it's just not been working out for them. Apex, yes, continues to lead. And not only is Apex, yes, continuing to lead, yes, has still maintained a gap of over a full pit stop over their closest rival. The lead early on in the GT category went between Kart Racer, then Queen Biba, then Apex Yes. Then after the first round of pit stops, Yes opened up a gap, has just been gone, and no one has been in Yes's tire tracks all day today. Yes has just been absolutely vanishing into the distance in the bottom category. The fight for second is going to be weird, though. I think Queen Biba's likely going to get it just because they've got a pace advantage, but it could go to someone like Mosmatos or C480 or maybe even someone like White Wolf if they make the strategies work out. But the win is definitely settled there. In the top category, though, there was contact between Lazy Ark and LMP Aramis. Both of them got into it with each other in Sector 2, slid off circuit, lost a huge chunk of time. In the process, it's kind of put AFC Maverick back into the play. It's put JTSO2 in play. It's absolutely put DMS Sherry into play. So yeah, things have gotten really interesting there. The only driver who I'm sure they wish it helped, but it's not helped, is AER Wolf. Wolf is still absolutely nowhere in relation to the leaders right now. This is just kind of the sad reality, is that it's not that he's had a bad time. He's been able to put down some good laps, but he made his first pit stop a lap earlier than everyone else, not realizing that he would catch traffic again. So all the advantage he had on fresher tires for that one lap was lost dealing with traffic. So now he is off sequence by a lap and he is behind the track position. So it's just not looking good for Wolf at all going forward. Top 5 probably not in the cards for him, as he is currently being harassed by AFMG Aussie. Aussie been on a bit of a recovery drive. They started up Stint 1, lagged out within the first 10 minutes, but they're still here right now. Hopefully can make the last 33 minutes in this stint here. So it is AFC Maverick, who has, what I would say, a third of a lap over JTSO2, and a little bit more than that over DMS Sherry. I'm going to be interested to see if DMS Sherry can actually do anything to JTSO2, as AFC Maverick is pitting now with 33 minutes left. So for Maverick, it's interesting. Do you go ahead and go soft? If you do, you have to find 3 extra minutes somewhere. It's basically 2 more laps somewhere. But if Maverick can go ahead and find those 2 extra laps, then this stop and then 1 more stop, that would be it. And they've got a gigantic gap on track. They might legitimately be able to make that kind of strat pull off here, especially if JTSO2 is going to pit at the same time as Maverick. So yeah, so JTSO2, he'll pit this time and we'll only have 1 more stop after this. Maverick, will he only have 1 more stop, or is he going to commit to 2 more stops? That will be the question. DMS Sherry's going to stay out a little bit longer, though. Where is Sherry going to be in relation to Maverick? That is the question. The 223 machine fires out of pit lane and is going now, but you can see Sherry right there behind. Sherry's got nice warm tires. Maverick's still trying to get heat into his own rubber right now. And we've lost another driver in the form of FFR Kelchan. Oh, and Sherry's off! Sherry is way off and hard into the wall! And the car is stalled. Is he going to be able to move it? He is! But the car is destroyed, and the car that was leading, the car that was that dominated Stint 2, the car was in the position for an outright win, has an accident. That's three of our top 4 contenders in this event have now all had incidents, but Sherry's is going to be so derailing, it's likely going to catch them a lap down. And for Maverick, this is perfect news. Maverick won't have to worry about being hassled by them at all. That might be all it takes to give Maverick the stint win. We'll try to reach out to Kelchan and see what caused him to drop out. You have to wonder, was it a lag thing due to them leaving, or was there something else that caused that incident? Okay, I can't seem to find Kelchan. That's frustrating. Well, I'm not going to pause the stream. No, I should pause the stream for it. Well, I'm not going to pause, but I'm going to... Hold on just a sec. All right, well, that should be resolved. Sorry about that. Well, if they join, they join. If they don't, they don't. I do apologize for that. It does look like Wolf and Ozzy are having a little bit of a fight between each other. Sherry has finally made it into the pits to be able to repair their damage, but this has dropped them to 9th out of 10. They'll likely end up falling behind Hyper, but I think they have the speed to get back by Hyper later on. But Ozzy in the Bentley is starting to show some speed. So once again, the Bentley really seems to come to life in the final 30 or so minutes of these stints here. Toyota's run 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 5th. A Bentley has cracked 4th. And the highest BMW is now JTS02 down in 6th. But JTS02 only has one more stop left. Everyone else, we think, has 2. Maverick might be on only one more stop, though. Things, you got Aramis back here, just a little bit behind him. But Aramis is at 45% tire wear right now. I look at Maverick. Maverick is only at 16%. And then you have Lazy Ark, who's the driver that Aramis had got into it with earlier. He's just been bleeding out time since the last pit stop sequence. I think he put on the medium tires to get into some cleaner air, just get away from other people here. But yeah, this has definitely been one of those stints. Now, with the way this has been going, Maverick just needs to hope that there's no more randomness, no more wildness. I think Maverick has this stint in the bag if there's just no more wild stuff. Aramis and Ark got into it with each other. Wolf ran a strategy that just killed him immediately. Then we had Sherry, was right up there in the middle of the fight, had an accident. Again, I couldn't tell if it was because of lag or if they made contact with a lapped car, but while we were riding on board, they went off and totaled their car in the process. It's just been one of those stints. Maverick is the only driver near the top of the grid who has not had something go wrong for him yet. He just needs it to stay that way for 28 more minutes, and my godly, 28 more minutes, you're asking a lot out of this game, it will feel like. EVR Stone running just behind JTS02 right now. So some BMW on BMW action here. Does Stone have anything for it? We saw Stone put together some good runs earlier. In fact, this entire team has had some good runs, but every single driver in that number 22 BMW seems to struggle with tire fall off. All right, here comes Wolf coming into the pits with 27 minutes left in the running. For Wolf, it's going to be really simple. You throw on softs now, run those to the end and throw on mediums, or flip it, throw on mediums now, then once those are burned up, throw on some softs and run to the end. So as bad as Wolf's strategy seems to have turned out, he will be fine. He'll be perfectly maximizing all his tires. Goodness, Stone, you're right against the tire barrier. Mosley Shuck didn't plow the tire barrier. For those of you who remember, last year here for the TORA Enduro, there was a big multi-car accident coming out of the final corner where one driver went wide right in front of a pack of cars, and there were about a half dozen cars involved in the big wreck there. Thankfully, I think the field's spread out enough that that's not a serious risk right now. I look at AFMG Aussie. I'm curious if Aussie is going to catch Lazy Ark. No, Aussie is not going to catch Lazy Ark. Because if Aussie was going to catch Lazy Ark, there would be a possibility that Ark would end up losing ground trying to defend. Because again, I think Ark has gone ahead and decided to jump back onto medium tires to try and just spend more time solo. He doesn't want to have to fight with more people. And, to be fair, I don't blame him after what happened between himself and Aramis earlier. Aramis is still relatively close to Maverick, but you look at those tires left on him. He's just about to hit 60%. He's almost out of fuel. He'll have to pit this time by. With 45 minutes left, that's 25 minutes technically. You can either throw on some soft tires, run those until they just barely start to fall off, throw on softs again, or put on some mediums and just try to eke them out an extra lap longer than normal. Neither strat's great. Aussie is going to go ahead and join Aramis in the pits this time, but Lazy Ark is going to stay out a little bit longer. I mean, honestly, for Lazy Ark, if he just stays out here for another 5 minutes or so, he can make only 2 more stops. So they can both be soft tires and be absolutely fine. If he really wants to push the issue, though, he would try to stay out for like another 10 minutes. 10 minutes? We've got 24 minutes left. Stay out for another 2 minutes, throw on the mediums, and he'll be fine, because we've only got 24 minutes left. Finish this lap, do another lap after that, throw on another set of mediums, and don't worry till the end of the race. I don't think he has what it takes to stay out here for 9 more minutes, and then throw on softs to the end. But yeah, I think he can make it on just 1 more stop, just throw it on mediums a little bit later. What of Maverick? We still do not know what Maverick's tire strategy is. He's got great track position, and he's in a position where he can make all mediums work or all softs work, but he's not really great outside of that. Meanwhile, some more American manufacturer on American manufacturer action. Dodge versus Chevy is Mosmatos holding just ahead over Kart Racer right now. While Yes has ran off into the distance and Queen Biba seems to be solidly in second. The fight for third on back is interesting. This one is a microcosm of that. This is fourth right now. Mosmatos over Kart Racer. Anyone who pits basically at the end of this lap, they'll throw on mediums, and those mediums will likely be what they run to the checkered flag here. Seems like, I think Hart may be trying to push his tires a little bit too far. Yeah, his tires just about cooked, so he's going to be paid at the end of this lap. We'll probably throw on mediums to the end. Mosmatos, on the other hand, still has some life in these tires. I wonder if he thinks he might be able to throw on some softs in a bit and try to nurse those to the end. This is third place in GT, White Wolves. Either he wants to stay out for another lap or he comes in now. I think it might be a little bit better for him to come in now, throw on mediums. But he might try to stay out for a little bit longer to short fill. But I would come in now if I was him. But he is not going to come in now. You have Queen Biba, who runs in second in GT. I think they might, it might be a little bit rushed, but I think they might try and push to stop in about 7 minutes or so they can just run softs to the end. And then your leader, Yes. Yeah, I think Yes and Queen Biba are kind of both in the same position where even though there's no real perfect tire strap for the end for them, they're both going to be more than fine enough to the end. Maverick cutting his way through traffic right now. Lazy Ark still has yet to make their final stop. They might try to stay out for another lap or two so they can throw on softs to the end potentially. What is Maverick going to do? Maverick's burning up those rears. He could stay out for another lap after this one. That'd put him at about 17 or so minutes left. Again, nothing ideal, but I think Maverick has a good enough gap over everybody. He knows that Lazy Ark, even if Lazy Ark ends up with slightly better tires near the end, I don't think there's going to be enough time for Lazy Ark to reliably catch it, overtake Maverick to the end here. Also, that is DMS Sherry just up the road from Maverick. Sherry running last in the prototype category right now. After that big accident they had earlier. Does Maverick pit this time? 20 minutes left. Again, you have to, well, there's no mandatory stop limit now in this event. I keep forgetting that's the case. But you're not allowed to finish in pit lane. All right, Maverick's paying with about 20 minutes left. What is Lazy Ark going to do? White Wolf pits out of third as well. So that removes pressure from Queen Biba and Apex Yes. Any risk of them being caught, even though for Yes that was very unlikely. Any chance for Yes or Biba being caught from behind, pretty much out the window now. Lazy Ark goes back into the lead for a little bit here. Where is JTSO2 in relation to the leaders? Well, they're not likely going to be close enough to do anything for the win, but I think JTSO2 might be in a position to back into a podium on this alternate strategy of his. I don't think it's been a great alternate strategy. I love the idea. It's something I would try to do, but I don't think it's just going to work out for JTSO2. He just burns a little bit too much time every extra lap that he's staying out. But still, he might be able to parlay a podium out of it. He's not too far behind Maverick now. Maverick paired with 20 minutes left. So now we worry about Lazy Ark with 19 minutes left. What is his strategy going to be? He's going to have to pit this time by. So he'll be pitting with about 18 minutes and some change here. Either he throws on mediums and isn't going to be in a great position, or he throws on softs, puts in a lot of fuel, and just hopes that he has what it takes to neutralize anything that Maverick is doing. %60 in that rear, 0.6% left in the fuel tank. And he's coming in now. So this will give the lead back to Maverick. JTSO2 is just barely ahead of LMP Aramis. Aramis has kind of backed his way into on the periphery of the fight for the win. But Aramis is going to have to pit one more time, I imagine. Drivers ahead, while it will be rough for them, I don't think they'll have to. Well, JTS will probably have to. Yeah, the fact that JTS didn't pit this time is kind of shocking in its own right. Lazy Ark, after making his stop, where has he ended up? In fourth. Might fall. Is he going to lose a position of Ozzy? Not quite, but Ozzy and Wolf are relatively close to Lazy Ark. But we don't know what tires Lazy Ark has. JTS now being overtaken by Aramis. Again, both these drivers know they have one more stop to make. Now for JTS, when he makes this stop, this final stop of his, he's not going to be worried about too much tire fall off to the end though. So he can just go hard. But that's going to be true for Aramis as well. Aramis, when he makes a stop, likely at the end of this lap or next lap, no worry about tire fall off, just go to the end. Maverick leads. 13% on the tires. With 16 minutes left. Yes, your leader in GT has pitted. But Queen Biba, I believe, is just too far back to capitalize. And they're likely going to have to pit either at the end of this lap or next lap anyway, which kind of makes it a moot point. Third place in GT is Mosmatos, trying to keep C480 behind him. Mosmatos has some worn out tires we can stay out for a little bit longer. C480 running just behind has even more worn out tires. If anything, I think C480 might want to consider pitting this time, throw on some softs and hope that on the softs you can get him later on. Here comes C480 looking to the inside of Mosmatos. Fight for third in GT. A little bit of contact and C480 gets him, and he's going to pit this time. Queen Biba also pitting this time, so Mosmatos will go back into what will be third. It might briefly be second as well, actually. Yeah, he's briefly going to end up ahead of Queen Biba. But again, we know that Mosmatos is going to have to pit another minute or two here. Roughly 15 minutes to go here at Sebring. I look at Lazy Arc here. Not a lot of tire wear. I think Lazy Arc put on mediums, and he's betting on just staying out on track on mediums and not dealing with too much tire fall off. But he is feeling harassed by 8ER Wolf right now. Now, Wolf's going to have to pit likely at the end of this lap or next lap anyway because of his own tire issues. But he is harassing Lazy Arc something else right now. Lazy Arc says, fine, you want it so badly, you can have it. But Wolf is finally digging himself a little bit out of the hole that he was in earlier. Does Lazy Arc go for a move here? Well, he thought of it, but he's not going to go for it this time. In fact, he actually backs out, lets Ozzy go by. My guess is that Lazy Arc is betting on these two pitting. He just wants to get a little bit of draft off of them for a bit now. Aramis can still see Maverick up ahead. We still are not sure if Maverick's going to pit again. With 13 minutes left, though, it's going to be close for Maverick. Aramis runs in second. He'll have to pit again. Even if he's on mediums, you're asking 13 more minutes on these set of tires. There's no way that Aramis can't get away with... He'll have to pit again. Just, I can't see a way that doesn't work out that way. Ozzy is shunted off track as his own tires are starting to fall off on him now. Those rears are really burnt up. He'll have to pit at the end of this lap. Lazy Arc runs right behind Wolf now. Wolf, instead of burning up the rear tires, is burning up the fronts more. And is almost out of fuel. Thing is that Lazy Arc is losing a huge chunk of time being stuck amongst these drivers. And Maverick doesn't have any such problems. I think even if Maverick pits, he's going to end up ahead of Lazy Arc. And when Maverick pits, assuming he does, because I believe he will, if Maverick pits, he's going to put on the softs. Now, if Maverick has tire life enough to stay out, he's going to be bleeding off time, but Lazy Arc is a long ways back, and Lazy Arc is on medium tires, so it's not like he's going to be closing with speed either. Meanwhile, in GT, third place there is White Wolf. He's good on tires, good on fuel to the end. He does have C480 a little bit farther back. C480 Pid recently put on new, softer tires. So C480 also will be good on tires to the end, so maybe C480 can put White Wolf under some pressure near the end here. AER Wolf has pitted, and that has dropped him out of the top 5. So now JTSO2 cycles back up into the 5th spot. Lazy Arc runs just a little bit behind Ozzy now. Ozzy will have likely a short fill. It's only going to be have to put on some soft tires and put some enough fuel in for about 10 more minutes of running here. It will almost be like qualifying laps he'll have to run. This is your leader Maverick in prototype once again. I think he's going to stay out. He's going to hemorrhage a lot of time near the end, but I think he's going to stay out. Gets to the inside of that battle going on between Kart Racer and Mazmatos. These two continue to go back and forth at it. Aramis finally pits out of the 2nd spot. So is Aramis going to end up behind Lazy Arc or not? Because if he does, and how much he does, will determine where Lazy Arc is going to be in relation to Maverick. Still watching this battle for 5th in the GTs. For the moment, though, it looks like Mazmatos has it. So JTSO2 up to 4th. Aramis now back up into the 3rd position. 2nd is Lazy Arc. 1st is Maverick. little less than 10 minutes left now. Is there a chance that Aramis runs down Lazy Arc by the end? Could Aramis nip Lazy Arc for second? I think Maverick has a big enough gap that even if his tires hit 70%, he'll be fine to the end. Ooh, Kart Racer very nearly went off circuit there. Nine and a half minutes left. I look at the tire wear on Maverick. He's at 45%. If he chooses to pit, will he be far enough ahead of Lazy Arc to not get caught by him, to not be overtaken by him? He's got 10% left in the tank with 9 minutes left. Is Maverick may... I'm still not sure. I feel like every 45 seconds I'm going back and I'm like, well, Maverick's gonna stay out. No, Maverick's gonna have to pit. Right now, I'm starting to think that Maverick may have to pit, not because of tires, but because of fuel. What of Lazy Arc? Does Lazy Arc have the fuel to go to the end? Oh yeah, he'll have the fuel to go to the end. That's not going to be a problem for him. But the gap between Maverick and Lazy Arc has gotten absolutely gigantic recently here. And now Maverick is in the yellow when it comes to his tire life. He's got to come now. If he comes now, he would come back out on track in clean air, or relatively clean air at least. It's not likely that he would catch Hyper LM or DMS Sherry again. So yeah, Maverick would likely have to come and pit this time. It is AFZ versus AFZ. Two different AFZ team cars going at for the win here on two different strategies. I think Maverick has it, but how he's going to have it is the big question. 7 minutes and 40 seconds remaining. 6% left in the fuel tank. Does Maverick pit or does he stay out? Here's your answer. He's pitting. Maverick is going to pit this time by. So now we turn our focus to Lazy Arc. Is Lazy Arc going to be any closer to Maverick here? Aramis, while he was closing in on Lazy Arc earlier, seems to have stopped closing in as fast as he is struggling with traffic right now. There's also this. C480 has caught White Wolf. C480 has fresher tires as well, so the fight for third in GT is alive also. Maverick is rolling down the pit lane exit. Lazy Arc is coming down pit straight as well. This is it, folks. The fight for the win here in Prototypes. Maverick has gotten to the pit exit. Here comes Lazy Arc through turn one. He's by. Lazy Arc goes to the lead with just a little bit under 7 minutes remaining here at Sebring. Now, Maverick's going to have soft tires, doesn't have a lot of fuel, so he just needs to put together some fantastic laps and be perfect. Lazy Arc is on worn medium tires. He doesn't have a lot of fuel, but he's on worn medium tires. In theory, Maverick should be able to catch them fast. Lazy Arc needs to catch traffic, and the bad news for Lazy Arc, there's only one GT car coming up. That's this one he's about to catch. After that, it's going to be clean track for him for a long time to come. And then you have this here. This is the fight for third, and crap, I missed it, but C480 has gotten by White Wolf. So C480 on track for what might be his first podium in a TORA event. He's good on fuel. He'll be good on tires as well. He's a little bit better on tire. Well, he's actually a little bit worse on tires than what White Wolf is right now, actually. Huh. But I think that might be because White Wolf might have been on medium tires. All right. We turn our focus now to the fight for the lead, the fight for the win for the Prototypes. Lazy Arc has track position, but bad tires. Maverick has good tires, but has to dig deep. 5.5 minutes left. They're onto the back straightaway again. There is no traffic around for either of these two. The next two cars on track are lapped cars. Well, not quite lapped cars. Hyper LM and DMS Sherry. And they are so far up the road, there is no way that this duo catches them unless 10th and 9th wreck. GT car, the next GT car they would hypothetically catch would be Apex Yes, and even that's like a quarter of the track up the road. I don't think they're going to catch Yes before this is up. Less than 5 minutes left. You can visibly see the gap closing down between Lazy Ark and Maverick. Aramis runs about a short straightaway back from this group. If this two gets into an accident, which would not be unexpected with the way this race has gone, but if these two get into an accident, Aramis would be the driver in the catbird seat. And JTSO2 isn't that far behind Aramis as well. Real quickly, just look at fight for third in prototype. 25.2% most worn tire for Aramis. For JTSO2, his most worn tire is 49.1%. So yeah, Aramis easily has that over JTS. Maverick has almost caught Ark. Everstone paying out of the 8th position now. Oh, Maverick into the dirt. That's not going to help him. Less than 4 minutes left. I look at Lazy Ark. 39% tire wear on the rears. I look at Maverick. He's on softs, mind you. He's already at 14.6. The gap in tire wear is closing, but not closing enough. EVR Stone has paid. He might have had an accident that we have missed. So that will move Hyper LM and DMS Sherry up a position. All right, Maverick has caught Lazy Ark with 3.5 minutes left. He'll finish this lap and have 2 more full laps to go here at Sebring. Lazy Ark is not going to put up a fight. He's not even going to try and put up a fight. He lets Maverick have the inside line. I think he'll just be content to come home second. And Maverick goes to the lead. Lazy Ark's going to be kicking himself because now he's going to be thinking, man, if I didn't have that incident, if I didn't have that spin earlier with Aramis, would I have been far enough ahead? Would have that given me enough position that I could have been ahead of Maverick? But now it is Maverick at the front. Stint 1 and 2 were walkaways for the prototypes, but Stint 3 has been anything but. The final overtake happening with about 3 minutes left, and now Maverick is vanishing off into the distance. Wolf and Ozzy still on top of each other for the fight for 5th. Wolf has it, Ozzy wants it, but Ozzy needs to close that gap down a lot more. Rama is in 7th. 8th place is Hyper LM. 9th is DMS Sherry. Sherry just trying to recover from that big accident earlier. Having an accident here is just completely fatal to any chance of having a good run. It's not like Daytona where you can catch some draft and make up some good ground in the draft. Here, you have an accident. You are in so much trouble. You are toasted. And anything better than a last place result is going to be impressive. And Yes is going to finish this race, not only a full pit stop ahead of Queen Biba, but is going to have over half a lap over Queen Biba. And it looks like C480 is going to bring home their first podium. Less than a minute left. I'm just curious to see if Sherry can get by Hyper LM here in these closing moments. Basically every other position has been decided. Wolf, I think, is going to come home ahead of Ozzy without too much issue here. Yeah, I think Sherry's going to catch Hyper's rear wing, but I don't think there's any chance for Sherry to actually overtake Hyper here. Unless Hyper ends up falling over with some bad tire wear or something. No, that's not going to happen. I think that's decided. So, at the head of the field is AFC Maverick. It could have been many different drivers, but in the end, AFC, they brought 3 bullets in the chamber, and the one named Maverick is going to pull off the win for Stint 3. 4 seconds left. 3, 2, 1. Time's up. Over. Plow. Oh, JTS, Hyper LM, and C480 all lagged out at the exact same time. That's a lot of drivers high up that lagged out. Lazy Arc will be second. LMP Aramis will be third in prototypes. And then, yes, we know will be first in GT. Queen Biba will be second in GT. And third will be, well, it should have been C480, but since he just lagged out, I don't know how that's going to go. I wonder if it was because invites were sent out, because I got invites just a very short period of time before that. I wonder if invites were sent out and those drivers automatically accepted the invites, forgetting that they needed to record distance instead. Well, we're going to go ahead and take a Twitch-mandated ad break. When we come back, we'll try to get some post-stint interviews with some of our top finishers here. We'll be back momentarily here at Sebring.